Hey guys, Pedro here to let you know who I believe to be the best label of 2024, and I have 7 solid reasons why this label is on top of the pyramid. Now, I could have more than 7 because they released incredible albums throughout the year, but I narrowed it down to my favorite 7 records, and I'm about to go through them and give you a little bit of an explanation on why Century Media has the crown of best strongest label in 2024, which I believe comes with all the great releases and all the bands that they've signed onto their label. One of those bands, Orbit Culture, releasing a new record in 2025, and I'm looking forward to that album. There's some other bands that were signed with a label that released new records this year. So this is a label that's bringing in as much talent as they can into the team, into the fold, allowing them to grow an incredible roster and really become a team that supports their artists, supports the musicians, and provides them a healthy environment in which they can completely feel free and creative and put out incredible music as they've done this year. But let's talk about my 7 reasons why Century Media is on top of the pyramid. Here's one of those reasons. Unto Others with Neverland. I absolutely love this record. From the artwork, to the music, to the lyrical content, to the diversity of lyrical content, even though it creates a streamline that allows the album to be diverse but yet connected. Same thing could be said about the music. An album that maybe goes a little bit too long, but that takes nothing away from the individual quality of each and every single song. And when you live in an era where everybody is consuming these songs as singles, maybe having that strength in the individuality of the tracks and not be as concerned for what the overall collective is all about, it may work in their favor. Great album by Unto Others. I think this is their strongest album, definitely their most mature record, and a reason why they are with Century Media. Another one of those reasons that I have on my 7 reasons list are these guys. Dark Tranquility with End Time Signals. Now, I had a lot of question marks about this record coming in. Anytime you have changes in the lineup of a band, you're never really sure exactly what the album is going to be all about. But this record, in my opinion, answered all my questions. I don't think it answered the critics because I don't think there were critics of Dark Tranquility out there, but it definitely answered all the questions as far as where this band can go in the future. And the future is bright. Even though this album offers perhaps a little bit more heaviness and darkness, there's still some glimpses of light at the end of that tunnel, and this album is able to offer you a little bit of that hope that it's really needed, not just for the listener but also for the fan of the band as you could see them going forward. Now, there were some rumors that because of the name of the record and the lineup change that perhaps this was going to be the last Dark Tranquility album. I spoke with members of the band, I had them on the channel, and they squashed those rumors. This is not going to be the band's last album. It's just going to be another great album in a great discography. Another reason why Century Media is on top of the pyramid, Soul Saphir with Hin Helga Kvol. Now, this is the band's first record with Century Media Records, and one of the band's best, in my humble opinion. An album that brings a lot of the history of the band into the fold and allows some of the fans of the band that perhaps missed some of their more dark, blackened, driven sound that were perhaps dying for it, not in the live performances but on record. I feel like this album is going to check those boxes, or checked those boxes, but it's still an album that has a lot of melancholy, a lot of atmosphere, still has everything that Soul Saphir has given us across the last 3-4 records. So it's an album that blends in the DNA of the band, and the DNA of the band is not defined by one album but rather by the entire discography that they have. So this record almost works as greatest hits, just with brand new songs. Another reason, and I feel like this is a really good reason, Cemetery Skyline with Nordic Gothic. Now, this is the debut album from the band. They are a super group, as you guys know, and this record kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, the formation of the group, the announcement that they signed to Century Media, the announcement of the release of the album, we start to get some of the singles, and we see some band members that we didn't picture that they would be able to form a cohesive unit of goth rock, goth metal, and they've done it. And I almost feel like they are the tip of the spear when it comes to this goth rock, goth metal infusion of sound that 2024 has given us. Incredible bands throughout the year. I mean, I already mentioned Unto Others. Incredible bands throughout this entire year have been releasing albums with this sound, with this resurgence of sound. And I'm, for one, I'm all for it. I love it, and I feel very connected with it. It reminds me of a much easier time, of a much younger time, if you will. And I love the fact that through their music, through the music of Cemetery, Skyline, and Unto Others, and other bands out there, I'm able to relive a little bit of my youth and enjoy this resurgence of this style. Another reason for why Century Media is as strong as they are in 2024 is this album right here by Swallow the Sun, Shining. This is a very different record by Swallow the Sun, and I think you're going to find that difference even in the artwork of the album. This white cover really represents a little bit more of light that the band infused into their sound coming into this album. Definitely not as dreary, not an album that feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders when you're listening to it. Those have always been heavy characteristics of Swallow the Sun as a band, as musicians. Their albums, while being great, their songs while being great, when you listen to a record from start to finish, at the end of the record, you'll almost feel like you need to take a bath. You feel like you need to decompress. This album allows for a much easier listening experience, much easier to digest record, but it still keeps the DNA of the band. It still feels melancholic. It still sounds melancholic. It's just a little bit more hopeful in how the songs are delivered. Now, this record here, one of the 7 reasons why Century Media is on top of the pyramid. This is the greatest discovery for 2024 as far as I'm concerned. I had never heard of this band before until late in the year. I not even reviewed the album on the channel, but after we checked out one of the singles, I had to buy the record, and I'm head over heels when it comes to Kanonen Fiba. This album, Die Urkatastrophe, I'm probably butchering the name, but anyhow, you guys get the picture. This album is one of the best, if not the best, black metal album of 2024. The fact that the band is German, the fact that they sing in German, the fact that the whole band, the whole theme of the band surrounds World War I, the way they deliver the songs, the lyrical content, everything about the artwork, everything about this band ties in together. There's no loose pieces, there's no loose ends. I can believe that they've gone under the radar, as far as I'm concerned, for a very long time. They went as far under the radar to the point that I not even, like I said, review their album when it came out this year. So I have to admit, my bad. Love the band, outstanding record. They're blowing up right now. They're becoming easily one of the fastest growing black metal bands on the entire planet. On the entire planet, everybody's talking about these guys, what they're doing, their sound, their stage work, their production. I think sky's the limit for these guys. These guys can really do a lot to benefit the genre of black metal and really elevate it into a level that perhaps we haven't seen in a very long time. Now, the last of the 7 reasons why Century Media wins the best label of 2024 is Tribulation. Tribulation with Sub Rosa in Aeternum. This is one, hands down, of my favorite records for the year. I've always been a fan of Tribulation, and I actually been a fan of Tribulation in the different phases of the band. I was just not expecting this record to be as solid as it is. When you look at the sound of the album, they captured such an interesting sonic perspective of what they can do as musicians and as artists. An album that has great texture of sound, that has a lot of different layers, infusion of different instruments here and there in order to create different perceptions, in order to create the right ebbs and flows, and allowing the songs to have uniquenesses between them, even though it's very easy to detect the red line that brings them all together. On the vocal side, you have a record that feels like it has a different lead singer on every single song. The dynamic of the vocal delivery, of the vocal performance, to match the energy and the lyrical content and the mood of the tracks really sets this album apart from that perspective. They did a lot on this record with very little. At least that's the perception that you get. It's an easy album to listen to dive in, but once you listen to it and you dive in, it's very hard to come out of it. It really holds you there. It makes you feel comfortable in the experience, even though some of the topics might offer a little bit of darkness, and that might be, I'm not going to say disturbing, but that might create a little bit of a sense of being uneasy. But this album, the way it soothes that uneasiness with great melodies, great guitar work, phenomenal drums and bass, and then, like I said, that dynamic vocal range that adds so much life to this album is what's going to win you over. And when you put these 7 records together, I think it's very easy to see why Century Media, in my humble opinion, is the best label of 2024. The question is going to be, are they going to stay on top of the mountain as far as 2025 is concerned? Or is there another label out there that's perhaps looking at what these guys are doing and not necessarily going for quantity over quality? These guys are signing quality bands to a quality teamwork that really allows them to strive and be the best that they are. And I think that that's the right approach to have, having a more of a youthful outlook in terms of music, of what people want to listen to, putting all of the pieces together so that the bands can thrive, so that the bands can do their thing, and not necessarily just trying to get everybody and hoping that something sticks. I like their approach. I like what they've done in 2024, and I'm definitely going to keep my eyes open for what they do in 2025. Let me know your thoughts on these 7 records, on these 7 reasons. Do you have any other reason why this label should be the best label of 2024? Or do you feel like there's another label out there that deserves a shout out? Hit me up in the comment section, and I'll see you all at the next one. Take care, guys.